Hello everyone, this is Grace. It is September the 30th, 2019, and today we're going to be taking a look at the first trumpet of Revelation. Let's get to it. Revelation 8 verse 7. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth, and the third part of trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. That's it. Not a lot to work with, but that's okay. We're going to look elsewhere in the Bible for our definitions, our interpretations of the symbols that are here. And we're going to start with hail and fire. And that's going to take us to Exodus. Now, in Exodus, we are here with Moses and Aaron, and they are just about to ask Pharaoh to let the people go and worship Yahweh in the wilderness for 3 days. So we'll start with Exodus 5 verse 1. And afterwards Moses and Aaron went in and told Pharaoh, Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, Let my people go, that they may hold a feast unto me in the wilderness. And Pharaoh said, Who is the Lord, that I should obey his voice and let Israel go? I know not the Lord, neither will I let Israel go. And they said, The God of the Hebrews has met with us. Let us go, we pray thee, 3 days' journey into the desert, and sacrifice unto the Lord our God, lest he fall upon us with pestilence or with sword. So the Pharaoh had already been oppressing the Hebrews, and after Aaron and Moses went to him and asked for them to go free for 3 days, then he started oppressing them more. He was originally oppressing them because they were growing in numbers so much that he was afraid that they might overthrow the Egyptians. So he started oppressing them. So now he's oppressing them more. So let's see what happens. And Pharaoh commanded the same day that the taskmasters of the people and their officers saying, Ye shall no more give the people straw to make brick, as heretofore. Let them go and gather straw for themselves. And the tale of bricks which they did make heretofore, ye lay upon them. Ye shall not diminish aught thereof, for they are idle. Therefore they cry, saying, Let us go and sacrifice to our God. Let their more work be laid upon the men, that they may labor therein, and let them not regard vain words. And the taskmasters of the people went out, and their officers, and they spake to the people, saying, Thus saith Pharaoh, I will not give you straw. Go ye, get you straw where you can find it, yet not aught of your work shall be diminished. So the people were scattered abroad throughout all the land of Egypt, to gather stubble instead of straw. And the taskmasters hastened them, saying, Fulfill your works, your daily tasks, as when there was straw. And the officers of the children of Israel, which Pharaoh's taskmasters had set over them, were beaten and demanded, Wherefore have ye not fulfilled your task in making brick, both yesterday and today as heretofore? Then the officers of the children of the... I'm a little tongue-tied today. Then the officers of the children of Israel came and cried unto Pharaoh, saying, Wherefore dealest thou thus with thy servants? There is no straw given unto thy servants. And they say to us, Make brick. And behold, thy servants are beaten, but the fault is in thine own people. But he said, Ye are idle, ye are idle. Therefore ye say, Let us go and do sacrifice unto the Lord. Go therefore now and work, for there shall no straw be given you. Yet shall ye deliver the tale of bricks. And the officers of the children of Israel did see that they were in an evil case after it was said, Ye shall not diminish aught from your bricks of your daily task. And they met Moses and Aaron, who stood in the way as they came forth from Pharaoh. And they said unto them, The Lord look upon you and judge, because ye have made our savor to be abhorred in the eyes of Pharaoh, and in the eyes of his servants, to put a sword in their hand to slay us. And Moses returned unto the Lord and said, Lord, wherefore hast thou so evil entreated this people? Why is it that thou hast sent me? For since I came to Pharaoh to speak in thy name, he hath done evil to this people. Neither hast thou delivered thy people at all. And we're going to continue on with chapter 6. Then the Lord said unto Moses, Now shalt thou see what I will do to Pharaoh. For with a strong hand shall he let them go, and with a strong hand shall he drive them out of his land. And God spake unto Moses and said unto him, I am the Lord, and I appeared unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and to Jacob, by the name of God Almighty. but by my name Jehovah was I not known to them. And I have also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land of their pilgrimage, wherein they were strangers. And I have also heard the groanings of the children of Israel, whom the Egyptians keep in bondage. And I have remembered my covenant. Now he's going to proceed to start applying plagues to Pharaoh and the Egyptians. But the one that regards us in our study is the one for hail. Let's take a look. Here we go. Exodus 9:22. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch forth thine hand toward heaven, that there may be hail in all the land of Egypt, upon man and upon beast, and upon every herb of the field, throughout the land of Egypt. And Moses stretched forth his rod toward heaven, and the Lord sent thunder and hail, and the fire ran along upon the ground. And the Lord rained hail upon the land of Egypt. So there was hail and fire mingled with hail, very grievous, such as there was none like it in all the land of Egypt, since it became a nation. And the hail smote throughout all of the land of Egypt, all that was in the field, both man and beast, and the hail smote every herb of the field, and brake every tree of the field. Only in the land of Goshen, where the children of Israel were, was there no hail. Now here we have the definition that we're looking for. Hail and fire mingled with hail. Now it's not exactly like ours. Ours is hail and fire mingled with blood, but we can still work with that. Okay, we're going to continue on. I'm going to read a couple of more verses. And what I want you to pay attention to is when Pharaoh is going to call Moses and ask him to entreat for him with God to have the, when he asks him to entreat for him, he's going to ask him to have the thunderings removed first and foremost. And then secondly, the hail. See, Pharaoh recognizes, he's seen hail before, and he recognizes this is not just regular hail. Okay, it's, it's busting up the trees, the land, the animals, killing up the people. He knows that this is not just regular hail. He recognizes that it is a judgment. So when he calls Moses to entreat for him, he's going to say first, entreat for the thunderings and then the hail. Okay, and that's exactly what Moses is going to do. He's going to say, hey, could you please stop the thunderings, which is the voice of God. We'll see that in the next reading. And by the way, could you also take care of that hail? So just watch what happens. You'll see. And Pharaoh 9:27. And Pharaoh sent and called for Moses and Aaron and said unto them, I have sinned this time. The Lord is righteous, and I and my people are wicked. Entreat the Lord, for it is enough, that there be no more mighty thunderings and hail, and I will let you go, and ye shall stay no longer. And Moses said unto him, as soon as I am gone out of the city, I will spread abroad my hands unto the Lord, and the thunder shall cease, neither shall there be any more hail, that thou mayest know that the earth is the Lord's. Okay, so we have another example, and that is Psalms 18. So let's start at Psalms 18:1. To the chief musician, a psalm of David, the servant of the Lord, who spake unto the Lord the words of this song in the day that the Lord delivered him from the hand of his enemies and from the hand of Saul. And he said, I will love thee, O Lord, my strength. Now, I do want to point out about this verse that the reason why it says the hand of all of his enemies and from the hand of Saul is because Saul was not originally counted as an enemy. Saul was his king, and David considered him to be a friend. David would go and play his harp for Saul to soothe him and to ease his nerves. But Saul became paranoid and jealous of David and started to try and kill David. And he relentlessly pursued David. But David would never lay a hand on Saul because Saul was anointed by God. So all he could do was run for his life until Saul eventually threw himself upon his sword and killed himself. But we'll continue on. I will call upon the Lord, who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from mine enemies. The sorrows of death compassed me, and the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. The sorrows of hell compassed me about, the snares of death prevented me. In my distress I called upon the Lord, and cried unto my God. He heard my voice out of his temple, and my cry came before him, even unto his ears. Then the earth shook and trembled, the foundations also of the hills moved, and were shaken, because he was wroth. There went up a smoke out of his nostrils, and fire out of his mouth devoured. Coals were kindled by it. He bowed the heavens also, and came down, and darkness was under his feet. And he rode upon a cherub, and did fly, yea, he did fly upon the wings of the wind. He made darkness his secret place, his hiding place. His pavilion round about him were dark waters and thick clouds of the sky, dark clouds. At the brightness that was before him, his thick clouds passed, hailstones and coals of fire. The brightness that's before him is the light that is before him, because he's God. And then, but however, the hailstones and coals of fire made its way through the clouds and the light. The Lord also thundered in the heavens, and the highest gave his voice, hailstones and coals of fire. So we have our definition. This is a general definition here, hailstones and coals of fire. And if you notice the similarities, the prayers of the saint went up in distress. They were both being persecuted, and Yahweh heard their prayers. And it says that smoke went up out of his nostrils, and fire out of his mouth devoured, and coals were kindled by it. So hailstones and coals of fire is just a way of saying that a judgment came down from Yahweh as a result of prayers from the saints, because that's what they have in common. Now, neither one is exact. However, let's take a look at ours. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood. So we have that hail and fire is a judgment. And since we have the example in Exodus where Moses' example was hail and fire mingled with hail, and we know that the way it manifested itself was a great hail came down upon the Egyptians, we can deduct that hail and fire mingled with blood is that the blood is the consequence, just as the hail was the consequence of the judgment in Exodus. I hope that's clear. I probably could have explained it a little bit better. The consequence in Exodus of the judgment was hail. Hail and fire mingled with hail. So we can deduct that the consequence of this judgment is blood. Okay? So what does that mean? Well, we know what this blood is. Let's go up to Revelation 8:3 and take a look, because it tells us what that blood is. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. Now this is the Day of Atonement, and the high priest is standing at the altar of incense with the golden censer. And there was given unto him much incense. Now we know that the incense is a figurative word for the blood of Christ. Ephesians 5:2 tells you that it talks about his sacrifice going up as a sweet smelling savor unto Yahweh. So the incense here is the blood of Christ, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. So you have the blood of Christ mixed with the prayers of saints. And we'll continue. And the smoke of the incense which came with the prayers of the saints ascended up before God out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer and filled it with fire of the altar and cast it into the earth. And there were voices and thunderings and lightnings and an earthquake. And the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. So you have the first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth. Well, the censer is what was cast upon the earth. And the censer was the prayers of saints, which is what was answered by this judgment, mixed with the blood of Christ. So we have that definition. Now let's take a look at earth and burnt up before we go any further. Well, let me go ahead and tell you what these things mean, and then we will look them up. It will just be easier that way. Earth is the Christians. That's what I'll be calling them, the Christians. If you remember our study on the 70 years of desolation, it was the people of God that professed to follow God that were judged. However, the people that knew the truth, their neighboring cities that knew the truth, they were judged also. They just weren't judged as harshly. So the earth are the people that know the truth, and whether they have accepted it, whether they have denied it, it doesn't really matter. They are all eligible for judgment. But specifically, it's the people that have taken Yahweh's name. Do you see? All of these people are going to come under judgment, whether they've taken God's name or not, because they know the truth. And so they are subject for judgment. They are counted as part of the earth. But specifically, it is the children of God who are claiming to be a part of the earth. Let me explain something real quick to you that might help you with this. Not unlike real life, as let's see, I don't want to say rank. It works like this. We're going to say spirituality. Spirituality probably isn't the right word. Let me explain, and you can decide for yourself what the right word is. So you have, in nature, you have the sea as being the lowest. So the sea is considered the wicked. Then above the sea, you have the earth. Okay? So the earth is higher than the sea. So the earth is more righteous than the sea. The earth, by the way, is the platform for God's people. That's where it starts. We start at the earth. So you'll see the grass is going up. So the grass is going to represent, you'll find this out later, the grass are the people of the earth. The trees that are reached higher up into the heavens than the grass are great people. So they're greater, more powerful people, more influence. Then over the trees, you have the birds. Wings in the Bible represent spirituality. So when you see, it has so many wings, or it has, when you see an eagle flying, all of this represents spirituality. And Yahweh himself compares himself to an eagle. An eagle, I think that the eagle is the bird that can fly the highest during the noon hour when the sun is out. And it also, the Bible speaks of how it makes its nest high on the trees in the heavens, near the heavens. So the higher up you go, the more spiritual the Bible has you ranked, or the more powerful. And we do this in real life, the more powerful, I would say. And we do this in real life. You might say, that person is over the accounting department. Well, we know what over means. It doesn't have to be explained. It gives a rank. And that's the way it does in the Bible as well. So you have the earth. The people of the earth is what the earth is talking about. And it is talking about the Christians, because they are higher up than the wicked and the heathen, which are part of the sea. Okay? So, and then we also have, we'll also look at burnt up. Burnt up is, I think you know this as well. I'm sure we've talked about it, but this is it's called being refined by the fires. If you watched my video on the 144,000 in Daniel 3, if you recall, they were cast into the fiery furnace of affliction. And when they were bound in their clothing, clothing is representative of character. So they were bound by the flaws in their character, and they were cast into the fiery furnace of affliction. And that affliction purged them of the flaws in their character. Unfortunately, that's the way we learned. I know we've spoken about this many times before. We know that we must go through some sort of hardship in order to refine our character. Satan was made perfect. And Adam was as well. He said everything is good, good, very good. But we know what happens when you spoil a child, okay? This is our best example here in real life that we can see every single day. When you spoil a child, you give. And what do they want? They want more. They want all of it, and all of it is never going to be enough. Hardship allows us to appreciate the things in life, and it allows us to appreciate the work that we do to get it as well. That's why the earth was cursed for our sake. That was for our sake. But anyway, that's what burnt up is. It is the fiery furnace of affliction. So now we're going to look at some of the definitions. Let's take a look at earth and burnt up. If my computer works here. Oh, it's working good. I'm so glad. Okay, we'll start with fire here. That's the one that I have that's first. Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial, which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you. But rejoice, inasmuch as ye are partakers of Christ's suffering, that when his glory shall be revealed, ye may be glad also with exceeding joy. Every man's work shall be made manifest, for the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by fire, and the fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is. And some of them of understanding shall fall to try them, and to purge, and to make them white, even to the time of the end, because it is yet for a time appointed. That the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of gold, that perisheth, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Jesus Christ. I'm going to come back to that for another study. Same thing for that. Okay, so let's look at some for earth now. Fear before him all the earth. The world also shall be stable, that it be not moved. Now I put this in there specifically because it has earth and world in there so that they can be distinguished. Then shall the trees of the wood sing out at the presence of the Lord, because he cometh to judge the earth. He's judging the people, and he's judging the people that have heard the truth. O Lord, our Lord, how excellent is thy name in all the earth. The isles saw it and feared. The ends of the earth were afraid and drew near and came. Okay, we'll do this one. This should be enough. Who has heard such a thing? Who has seen such things? Shall the earth be made to bring forth in one day? Or shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion travailed, she brought forth her children. Shall I bring to the birth and not cause to bring forth, saith the Lord? Shall I cause to bring forth and shut the womb, saith thy God? So here Zion is compared to the earth. And there's a lot more. I keep forgetting to. I wanted to add that one where it said, oh earth, but I'm not going to look it up because I don't know exactly what it says. I meant to check it out, but no worries. He says, oh, earth, earth, earth. He says it 3 times. Anyway, continuing on. Actually, we're going to stop there because I want to break this up in case I have to redo it. So we're going to stop there, but let's read what we have so far. The first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire, judgment from Yahweh, mingled with blood, mingled with the sacrifice of Christ, and they were cast upon the earth, and they were cast upon the people, the church. They were cast upon the church. And we'll continue. And the third part of trees was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. And the third part of trees, which are great people, this is the people, I didn't tell you that yet. And the third part of trees, the great people, was refined by fire. And all green grass was, grass is people, and green is the righteous. All green grass was burnt up, refined by fires. Now, we're going to look up the definitions for the words that I just told you. The trees, the grass, and then we're going to do the third part as well. So, but we're going to stop here for now, and we will pick this up in part 2. Yahweh bless.